I want to welcome everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's January 21st, 2020, official time 6 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I need approval of the agenda at this time.
So moved, Chairman.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. It's our pleasure tonight. We have Randy Darnell with our First Baptist Church who's going to lead us in the invocation and pledge. Whatever you want to do.
All right, let's do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's pray together. Our most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we know that every authority that exists on earth was put here by your command. Your will is for us as your people to be subject to every human institution for your sake, whether it be to the President as our Commander-in-Chief, or the Governor of our great state, to our county commissioners, to our sheriff. We know that they were put in place by you to punish those who do evil and to praise those who do good. We know it is your will for us to do good, so that those who reject you may see our good works and be put to silence. Help us to live as people who are free, not using our freedom as a cover-up for evil, but living as servants of our Lord and God. Having just yesterday been reminded of the struggle of our black brothers and sisters, enduring what they endured to be recognized as free, teach us to honor everyone as persons created in your image, regardless of any label the evil one may use to try to divide us. Especially help us to love the brotherhood of the faith community. Teach us a proper fear of you. Bless our president and our county commissioners. In the name of Jesus, we ask this because we know it is his will. Amen.
Amen.
Mr. Darnell.
Thanks, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Fix this thing, won't throw me out. We're going to move on tonight, the board appointments. We got a board appointment or tax assessor board appointment. It's a board appointment for 6 years. This appointment will renew Miss Mary Watts, who's already serving on the board. With that said, I'll entertain a motion to approve Miss Watts for another 6 years.
So moved, Chairman.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Second. No more discussion, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it, thank you. Move on to consent agenda and approval of minutes. All we've got is the first Tuesday, January 7th of 2020. If everybody's had opportunity to look at the minutes, I'll take a motion to approve that.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. New business, not adopt qualifying fees for 2020 election. Ms. Hatton? Marion, you want to come forward?
Yes, sir. Elections code just says that the governing authority shall set and adopt qualifying fees, and I'll publish them before February 1st. So there are the qualifying fees as will be published. If you just adopt those, and I will have them published.
Any questions for Ms. Hatton?
No. Motion to adopt, Chairman.
We have a motion to adopt, we have a second.
Second.
Second. If no more discussion, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank
Thank you. Great job. Recycling update, Mr. Lowe? You didn't know you were gonna get,
We're going to table that.
all right, you wanna table it till we get some more information on it? All right, y'all would table recycling update?
That's it.
We'll move on to 3, purchase 2 Ford F-250 pickup truck. Mr. Graham?
I thought that was one we were going to table, Chairman.
It's on. It is now. No, sir, I came to y'all, it's been a few meetings ago last year, actually, when we started having trouble with our diesels, our rescue units. Every one of our rescue units are the diesel Ford 550s. The 2 oldest that I have out on the road today is Rescue 6 out of River North, It's a 1997. I actually bought it from GSP. It was a SCAT unit. It already had 160,000 miles on it, but as of today, it has 233,776 miles. I want to replace that one. And I also, in July 2007, we purchased Rescue 1 down on Highway 49 for the new station then. Today it had 91,011. We've had problems. The one that I've had the least problems with is number 6 there with the 200,000 miles, but I've got to find a way to replace these and get away from the diesels. So my idea was to do 2 a year, and the first 2, I'm going to go with the gas models, the F-250s. Come down a notch or 2. Not with the heavy backs on them. Put a turtle shell on the back and put a decked, what they call the decked, in the back, and to put our tools in and we can lock them up and our equipment. I had administrator had given me a list of some of the Ford. I'm a Ford man. I'm sorry. Yeah, but I drive a Chevrolet. So, and you drive a Dodge. So, but anyway, I notified Allen Vigil. They're on the government folks. They bid every year for a 2020 Ford F-250 regular cab with the V8 gasoline engine, E85 engine. I didn't mean to say regular cab, a crew cab, and the price on it, the base price was $21,685. But after you put 4-wheel drive on it and brake controller and chrome bumpers on it, it comes to $31,847. I would like to purchase tonight 2 for this year, for 2020. I've already got the equipment to go on it. I'll just have to put the turtle shell on the back and then the slider in the back. And we've already got the radios and all that stuff. We'll just pull them out and make do what we got, as we got new radios anyway. So tonight there's a line item for one of those vehicles that we budgeted, and I'll buy the other one with splash money.
The newer your rescues right now, that's the one we keep putting motors in?
Right, I just put it's a new engine in it. It was $8,100 and some odd dollars. I'm going to transfer that one to River North, where it's not so busy in that area, but we can keep it a lot longer. So it's actually got 30-some thousand miles on it right now.
Is
So
that your model Ford had that? I think that was the year they had that diesel that wasn't.
it is the same one, and there was a lot full of that year on the lot, and the man said it was the same problem with all of them.
So I can go on the record, the man that's certified with Ford to work on these drives a Dodge.
Because he couldn't afford a real truck. Is that what it was?
I had to just bring that out. Y'all give me
Working
hard
on
about
Fords,
Dodge. I'm correct, ain't I?
And with these trucks, I'm going to try something a little bit new too. 10 years ago, I replaced all of our Hearst tools, and we went with the hydraulics, with the hoses and all that. All that's obsolete now. With the new pickup trucks that we're going to have the battery-operated Hearst tools, which are far better than anything that's been out there now. So, and they're 10-year bumper to bumper on those models. So they're run by a ion battery, DeWalt, to be honest. And a lot of people are getting a lot of mileage out of those. You can take a tool and go down in the creek somewhere.
Right.
You just can't just go down and you'll be having to use hand tools to go down to a creek and try to tear somebody out of a car. But anyway, they're extremely portable and extremely functional with what we want to do.
So we're gonna surplus one of the vehicles?
I'm going to surplus both of them. Gone.
The city didn't want to eat.
No, sir.
Okay. Any other questions? Mr. Graham?
The ones that we're gonna surplus, the 97 and 2007, that's the ones. And the other one that you put the new motor in is going to River North. so-
Right. Yes, sir.
Are these, the 97 and 07, are those four-wheel drive now?
Yes, sir.
How many do we have in your line item for SPOS?
Just,
One
I'm
in
sorry?
budget- One in budget, one in SPOS.
yes, sir.
Don, why would you need trailer brakes?
In case we had to pull the lights or something like that, that would be the reason. Pulling our, I hate to say this, our mowers to mow our stations.
Well, I mean, do all your trailers have electric brakes?
The only one that we have does.
I think that's standard option on most 2500s.
The price on that was $200 on that. The only extras that I got was the 4x4, the skid plate underneath, the trailer controller, running lights, which is the headlights all the time. I think that's important. Chrome bumpers and a sprayed bed liner. That's it. No funny wheels or anything like that. It's going to be very basic. And they will come red. Race red. So the scheme that we're going with now with the colors is just like the new engine that we got down on 49. The black top and the black and then the gold letters.
Even though we're getting them on state contract, are you still getting more than one quote on them?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I did Brannon. And there's another one up above Atlanta. Wade?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah. It take 12 to 15 weeks for delivery. Take 3 weeks to get the turtle shells because I'm going to get them black. But that's coming from Creative Coating. I think they're $900 a piece. They'll have the toolboxes on the side for our hand lights and stuff, tools.
Any other questions for Mr. Graham? I'll entertain a motion this time.
I'll make a motion, Chairman.
Motion to purchase two. All right, we have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? Commissioner Martin?
Clarify this, point of information, I should say. Water Department just came for trucks, and we said we weren't going to buy anything new until we had the inventory and the established history. So for that reason, I would be opposed, because if we did that for one department, got to be consistent.
That's right.
I just look at it as being an emergency response as it is right now.
I understand what you're saying, consistency.
Chairman, Commissioner Martin's right, and I think with with us having the policy on there, I think we're gonna look at a policy tonight on it, and then can we wait until, make sure this fits within our new policy and then look at it? I agree wholeheartedly that we need them for the rescues.
Right.
But I also agree we did say that at the last one.
Follow through?
Yep.
All right. Can you wait next meeting and let's look at the policy?
We've waited this far.
All right.
So who made the motion?
I'll
So you
rescind my
wanna retract
motion,
your-
Chairman.
Rescind
Thank
your
you.
motion? All right, and we'll look at it, we'll put it back on the agenda for the next meeting, and maybe we can look at multiple trucks, if that's where we need to be at. You
I
know,
appreciate it.
thank you.
I'm next anyway, so,
Are you still up here?
yes, sir.
Approved for donation of old gear.
The Georgia Public Safety Training Center and the state of Georgia and the Fire Academy have come up with a program to donate old gear, fire department gear. We have, when I took over almost 11 years ago, we had a lot of surplus stuff in the back there in the back hall. And a lot of it was gear, and it was outdated. We donated it to the dump, half of it, and I still got more that's in the hallway. I just want to get y'all's opinion whether what it looks like is they're needing helmets. They're needing coats, they're needing old gloves, old boots, anything like that. I would be almost hesitant about giving them something like our old BAs. Now, they're outdated and they can't be used anymore, but I'd be afraid somebody would get hurt or something like that, but they're talking about sending a bunch to San Juan. I visited San Juan just a week or two ago, and downtown Puerto Rico is in great shape. But when you get past the airport there is nothing anymore. They had an earthquake the day before I got there and had an earthquake the day after I left there. One was 6.9 and the other one was 6.3 or 2 or something like that. But anyway, I can't imagine what kind of shape they're in right now. But what I'm asking y'all tonight, if I get up a list and items, and there's not many serial numbers on coats and helmets and stuff like that, is get up a nice package. They will send prisoners to come and get them, no matter how big the package is, and they're going to probably need a truckload. But can I go ahead and start getting up this gear and then present it to you guys to go ahead, and it's a lot of gear. There's probably 50 or 60 coats, maybe 20 some helmets, and probably that many old boots that got holes in them.
Any questions?
So this equipment be used for their volunteer fire department in San Juan?
Right
or-
there, right. We could actually probably send a vehicle if it came down to it, but I'm not sure if they would accept something like that to send over there. But all the ones that got hit by the hurricanes back to back, and now earthquakes.
Anyone else comment or question?
Question for attorney, what would our policy be as far as the procurement policy for, would we have to deem it surplus, deem it no longer usable to be able to give it away, or?
They just require an item description.
Were you talking to me?
You
Talking to me?
You weren't ready for that one, were you?
I was working on something else over here.
I'll restate my motion, Chairman. Do we, as far as our purchasing policy, do we need to deem it as surplus before we can get rid of it, and what does all that involve?
I think, yeah, my answer to that would be
Okay.
sort of from the cup, that I think it needs to be deemed surplus before you
So-
do anything with it.
So if I put a description and serial number and a fair market value on it, what would you need?
Off the itemized list, which is Oh, man, that was-
Yeah, I
that was-
agree.
Okay.
It needs to be an itemized list, or, I mean, something, where did this come from?
That's building,
Okay.
building maintenance a little
But
bit later.
something similar to that, sort of a breakdown.
Right, I've got
Um,
somewhat of a list there, but that's what they presented me when they asked me, and then they sent me a attachment, and that's what, said that was very basic, but I think Jason's got the original, though. That's colorful.
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
you
this
do,
may be what
you
they
do.
need for their records, but for county records, I think it needs to be an itemized list.
That's why
Surplus
I wanted to
yeah.
come before I got started, because it's going to be a lot. There's a chairman on there. Is that the public safety chairman of state of Georgia?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I just want to make sure because that is official. Okay.
If we vote to allow him to do this tonight and to present us a list at the next meeting, we could do it that way on surplus, or we need to do it all at one time.
I would do it together,
Okay.
just have the record clean.
Okay. We'll
Okay.
put you on the next agenda. We'll have us a list.
Thank y'all.
How's that?
In
Um,
other words, we are requiring that you come to the next, we're just moving everything to the next agenda, so you'll be back with us.
Okay. Going back to the vehicles, and I know that we're fixing to discuss it, do I just need to bring all my service records for those vehicles?
We'll figure out what
Okay,
Mr.
I got
President
you.
got. We'll figure out which direction to go.
I got you.
Before-
Thank y'all.
Okay, is that
Yeah,
Mr.
before you
Mark?
go down.
Yes, sir.
Is there a local need, City of Gray or anybody else that could use any of this equipment?
It's out of date.
Okay. Jackets and.
Everything's out of date.
I wasn't sure if we had like a junior firefighters league or anything like that where you could even use it to torch or.
You can bet that anything that doesn't have a hole in it, and stuff like that, I'm keeping.
Gotcha.
Because that's what we'll put them in the burn house with.
Right. And remind me of this, the BAs that have expired, I know some of them you can actually refurbish and get a new stamp, but these are way beyond that.
No, they've got the third stamp. There's
Gotcha.
no more stamps.
Okay, thank you.
And those could actually go, but I'd be a little hesitant, and I may list it.
Right. They use, I mean, they don't have the requirements we've got.
Hey, it
over
is.
there. I'm sure
Yeah.
they'd be appreciative of anything they could get.
I got a room full of them.
Don, if you want to call me about it, just holler at me.
Okay. Thank y'all.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Yeah.
We Move on tonight. Animal Shelter Volunteer Event. Miss Jennifer, sound like you've got something going on up here. You got a crowd in here tonight.
Yeah, we got some great rescue people. I just wanted to make y'all aware, our fabulous rescues that we have work, endlessly day and night to do what they can for us and our dogs. And we just wanted to show them how much we appreciate them. And we're going to be giving a pizza party at Chevy's Thursday night at 6. And I just wanted to extend an invitation to y'all and just let y'all know kind of what we're up to and just show them how much we appreciate them and all the hard work that they do for us.
Well, they get bragged upon a bunch, particularly when the other counties call and said, how in the world are y'all doing what you're doing? And I said, if you don't support your rescues, you better start learning how to do it.
Even tonight, they're here just to support me for just to tell y'all. So that should tell you a little bit about how great they are.
Absolutely. Thursday night.
Yes, and you're all welcome to come
Wow.
and hang out and
See
how fabulous they are.
We thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Is
the
that
invite.
everything?
Yes.
Okay. So while Jennifer is up here, she and I have met to discuss some changes, some problems that animal control is having with some of our ordinances are a little outdated. We went through issues they were having, problems they were running into, some changes she would like made, particularly to the nuisance section of our ordinances, to our ordinance regarding impounded animals and abandoned animals. There were some barking dog issues. I'm sort of scrolling through my notes and adding in what we apply now as our dangerous dog standard, but adding that in language into our ordinances. So I've made the notes of things that she feels that they would like to see improvements on or some changes on. But we wanted to see if, I have the board's blessing to revamp some of these ordinances and then bring those back to you all to review and vote on.
I support it.
Be great.
Yeah, some of it just needs a little bit extra teeth in it and, you know, update some of the language in it and stuff like that.
Be
So,
great.
yeah, we,
I agree. Any way we can improve upon something, that's always a
Yeah.
great thing.
and, you know, this will help us in several different areas. You know, particularly the dangerous dog section needs to be updated just a little bit, so,
You're there every day, you know what we need.
yes, sir.
Your expertise would be great on this.
Would you all be willing to open it up for public comment as well?
Sure.
Because I'm sure the citizens have some suggestions.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right.
So do we have the okay for her to go ahead and look at that?
Yep.
You want to do that in the form of a motion, so we can go ahead and have it for the record?
Yeah, so I made the motion, the Chairman, that we have Ashley and work with Jennifer to review our ordinances and different codes for the animal control services and present to the board any of their findings.
Well, and if y'all just want to sort of direct me to do that when I bring it back, y'all make the
vote on the
motion to approve or, so let's wait on the motion. Thanks for that, though, Jonathan.
Hey, I'm on it, all right?
Do it by the book.
Now we
Let's
gotta table the motion.
We ain't good at these tables tonight.
When y'all review the actual ordinance changes, then make a motion to whether you want to approve or not.
I'm just trying to keep the minutes happy.
I know, that makes me a happy girl.
All right.
Okay, so I'll
Okay.
get with you.
Good. And like I said, everyone's welcome Thursday night, 6 o'clock, Chevy's.
All right.
All right?
See you there.
Thank you.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you. We want to thank the rescue groups too. Y'all do a great job, and you are bragged upon quite often, particularly when I get these calls from these other counties asking about our animal services and how we're so successful. And I just tell them, I said, we've got a great group of volunteers.
We definitely set the bar here, that's for sure.
Thank you very much. All right, number 6, Mr. Goins asked us to table that tonight because he don't have the proper numbers at this time to give to us. So if we can start with surplus supplies, Mr. White, I think you had a list for us tonight of Mama's apple pie.
Yeah, we just got a surplus of this stuff from where we condensed all our inventory from stuff when Bobby was here. We had a lot of stuff, and we've distributed as much as we can distribute in-house and to Matt as well. Matt's took a lot of stuff, and I don't know, we're just trying to figure out what to do with the stuff we got left over. So it's a good bit of money, you know, over $1,800. And I just was looking for some kind of guidance of what you guys feel like we need to do. You know, we can't keep storing it. Some of the stuff's been here longer than I've been here. You know.
You check with the constitutional officers too.
I have not.
And
Try
the
the
sheriff.
Department, all them.
Which I'm sure we could, I ain't gonna say give, but, see, that's Levita's deal. This is money, and it's her eyes.
Right. She's doing a
Yeah,
good job at it, like I said.
Absolutely right.
She's trying to keep her book correct. So
yeah,
I can see that.
absolutely.
Is it possible to reach out to the Board of Education or the city to see if they'd be interested in purchasing any of the items?
We could reach out and see. I don't know if they would want to purchase it, but
Okay.
we'll see. You know, it's,
I'm just at a reduced rate, you know. So we
yeah,
don't-
yeah, just something where we can move it on out.
Some of these items, I'm just gonna pick at it, Mom's apple pie. How long do you think it'd take? Is that 11 cases?
Yeah, no, it's that's quantity of 11. Ain't I correct with that?
What is Mom's
11
apple
bottles.
pie?
It's
Deodorizer.
and it goes in a certain type unit
It's like, we'll eat that.
that's not really used anymore, and it's, yeah.
I say as a joke.
I mean, the hand sanitizer. That's some stuff Tommy pointed out earlier. We could probably use that around here.
Right.
You know, but some of the bigger ticket items, you know, like the roll paper towels. You know, they do use some at the fire stations, but they don't go through a roll a year, and we got 6 rolls.
Right.
You know,
Well, we got 11 stations, so we just,
but it's only like 1 or 2 stations. One station, I think, that uses the roll paper towel. But anybody, like Tommy said, could tear them off
Yeah.
a roll. You know.
Right.
You know, I'd like to dig into it and just see what we can do to get rid of some of the stuff.
I would think the ones that have been there for years, the multi-use cleaner, aluminum polish, waste liquefier, even the pesticides. Pesticides will start causing us some issues with hazard storage and stuff. But,
Right.
I mean, you're talking about hand sanitizer, furniture polish, floor wax. At some point, we would use that unless we just don't polish furniture anymore.
No, we do, but like I say, I've already got them full, you know.
Yeah, I think we probably clean up the list and
We'll reach out. What we'll do is reach out to, you know, some of the other entities and then talk about it again, see what we found out.
This right here is a perfect example. You know, we talked about auto parts and not inventorying so much stuff, and this is a perfect example of why you don't keep so much inventory, because you end up losing money before it's over with. And
That's right.
it's $1,800, but still $1,800 that
Absolutely.
I remember I saw a bill one time when I first started signing checks about apple pie, and why are we buying apple pie? And that's where I got my education, and it was actually air freshener, and I couldn't understand how we were eating that much apple pie. But it caught my eye on one of the checks I was signing,
Yep, that's right.
so,
Yep. All right, well, that's all I got.
all right. Hey, thank you.
I wanted to know why you hadn't gotten a slice of that.
I know what apple pie, mama's apple pie is. I had to ask a crazy question, but it came back. Vehicle replacement policy, Mr. Risner? Surprise, it's your turn.
So, as we discussed at the last meeting, we want to look at implementing a vehicle replacement policy. I have been able to locate a tool, a free tool that will do, I think, exactly what we want to do. It looks at mileage, age, and then the maintenance cost of a vehicle over the life of the vehicle. So everything that's been put into that vehicle, and it compares that with the replacement cost. You put in the cost that it took to acquire the vehicle, and there's an inflationary adjustment, and it compares the maintenance cost over time. The issue I've run into is that we have a lot of data about our vehicles, but it's scattered over several different places. And so we've got some shop records where it shows what they've done to the vehicles, but it doesn't have a dollar amount attached to it. And then we have information in our Tyler accounting system about shop allocations where it gets charged out to different departments, but it's not always easy to link that back to individual vehicles. So, and then we also have paper records at Public Works by vehicle that show what we've spent on each vehicle. And so, I've kind of run into that data issue. I think that's an important piece of this, but it's going to take some time to go through. I think what I'm going to have to do is go through the paper files at Public Works by vehicle to determine how much has been spent on each one before you've got a truly useful report about all that. And I'll certainly keep working on it, and I've got a good listing of all the vehicles, the acquisition costs, and that information. I just putting my hands on what we've spent per vehicle has been a challenge. So I wanted to ask you, one, is that kind of what y'all had in mind? And if it is, I'll continue working to compile all that data and bring it back. Hopefully at the next meeting. It's just a lot of manual digging through files to get what we need.
Any question for Mr. Risner?
I mean, I think that's great as far as the inventory control side of it, but I think we need that to adhere to the policy. So we gotta have the policy saying that here's the minimum, and whether it's a dollar amount. And ones I've seen in the past was 200,000 miles minimum and X number of dollars spent annually on maintenance costs.
Mhm.
Now, if it's less than 200,000 miles and astronomical on the, just like the truck we're talking about, keep putting motors in, that's, that would be a one-off case where it might not have but 130,000 miles, but we've put a transmission and 3 motors in it, and it keeps, we just got a lemon vehicle.
Yeah.
And, that would be one that would fit outside of the 200,000 or 250,000. So
Yeah.
I think we do need the policy, and then the inventory side of it lets us know on the policy. My thought.
So you just thinking about doing a simplified version of it, or you want to go, because, I mean, it sounds like we're missing a lot of data that we would need to, like, tracking it down. I see it when signing checks. Give a perfect example, Public Works. I see a 308 or whatever, we've got one truck, it just seems like every time, but you're in the process of replacing it too, that just repetitively coming through on the bill. I see it, but it's not being, unless you actually go into the system and dig it out, as we don't have we're actually not logging that vehicle down unless you see it on an annual basis. And 238 or whatever the number is. I know there's one truck that's been through a lot this year in the process. We just replaced with the new addition of the rollback. So, Mr.
So-
Martin, idea?
Yeah, I just did a quick search on Google, as our friend. It says government-fleet.com. It's a free tool. They offer video, sample data. You found
That's what
that
I'm
too?
using.
All right, excellent. So, at the very minimum, I would ask department heads to help him basically create an Excel spreadsheet. Vehicle make, model, serial number. If you got any shop records, put that down. Any supplies that you purchased. And any repairs that you've done, and at least send that over to him, because then he can compile a nice Excel spreadsheet with a bunch of tabs, create a pivot table, drop the data in, and I think you could solve your problem.
Tell you another thing I like to say too, and not contradicting anybody, but in the future too, I mean, if somebody just, and not to take my word for it, let's say somebody comes up to us and says, we got a vehicle, it's not safe to drive anymore. Well, let's send that vehicle, let's say it's got less than 200,000 miles, and we haven't spent a lot of money on it. Let's at least send that vehicle to a shop of knowledge that can look at it and say, you need, ball joints in it, something like that, to let them determine, okay, yeah, there's some issues with this vehicle, but we spent $3,000 on it to fix it, you're fine. Before we sit there and let a vehicle leave without having somebody that's been there, that works on these every day and make a determination too. That's all I was right.
No, I agree with you.
But you know what I'm saying? Have somebody look at them, because, I mean, we might have some vehicles out there that are, what? Yeah, go ahead.
I know that you're not getting a fair amount of information. I know when we send vehicles to the shop, and pretty much all we're getting back is where the parts were bought and how much they were. And I know it's going to be a hard thing to chase. But I kind of looked at that same program too when we were talking about it today. But where we stand with emergency vehicles. Both of these trucks right here is as loose as a goose. And we're putting our people on the line. And it's not just a regular vehicle. I don't know how much I could say any better that these are specialized vehicles. And I agree with these policies that we're about to adopt, or I hope we adopt them, because we need to adopt a good program. But we've got to come to some on emergency vehicles. Certainly the sheriff wouldn't put anybody in one that was loose. And I know what y'all know what I'm talking about, being loose. An old pickup truck or something like that. I worry sometime. I worry about some of my volunteers driving their own vehicles and what they drive to some of these calls. Much less something that's, I just want to put that on there. It's going to be hard to, it's easily to justify when the cost is more than what it's worth, and more costs more to run than more than anything versus a newer vehicle. I just had to say that. We've got to come to some sort of medium with emergency vehicles.
Don, if I may, and I love the fire department, I support what they do, but I don't want ever, and this is not about you, any department head to come up on a Tuesday and say, we've got a bad vehicle and it's been bad for 6 months, because that's a reflection on us and department head.
Yes, sir.
Because we've had ample time to resolve or work on any issues, and we're not the people that are ever going to say no to repairing a vehicle. And for the most part, I think you guys have budgets to handle and manage that.
Yes,
So,
sir.
I understand emergency vehicle, but I don't want tonight it to be an emergency. It had to have been an emergency before tonight, right?
I've been talking about this since October.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get it, obviously, there's gonna be different departments that have different needs, and like emergency vehicles. We might have a whole different policy with them, because like I said, the sheriff has his needs and EMS have theirs. I'm just looking at our past history, and I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but I've seen a time we had a vehicle come up that said it was unsafe. And I'm not knocking that, but we could have probably very easily taken that vehicle to the local shop here, and we just, it was a shame on us, but we probably should have took the time to send it to a local shop that works on a Chevrolet and says, hey, all we need is.
Chairman, I'm gonna have to disagree with that as a 25-year department head that sat in this position. It's not shame on us, because we don't operate that department. We hire people to run those departments, and this is probably gonna be an unpopular comment. I don't want to devalue anybody's position or their need to be put on the road in a vehicle. I don't want to put anybody in an unsafe vehicle, from a maintenance guy to a rescue unit to a sheriff officer or deputy at all. But I managed over 120 vehicles in my fleet, and when I went to the board to ask for a new vehicle, it was my responsibility to prove my case and to prove that. So I made sure I brought all the backup documentation. I made sure that I showed how much money I spent. I made sure I showed how many times I've had problems with that vehicle. And I drove it home that this was an unsafe vehicle when I felt like it was unsafe. I put the responsibility on us, then, the commissioners, to say, I've come to you 3 times and you've turned me down 3 times, and I've told you it was unsafe 3 times. That's where you win your battle. I kind of, and this is not picking at Don at all. I understand he's putting them in a situation where you got to go then, and it's an emergency situation when you're going. So the last thing you want to do is try to put along to get there like you can in some other situations. But to me, it backs all the way up to the safe condition of the vehicle. So we don't. If it's an unsafe vehicle, we need to do something about it. But our line is drawn where, is it an unsafe vehicle or is it a money issue of, I need a new vehicle and I have an unsafe vehicle. That to me, that's 2 different things.
Right.
And the department heads, if it were me and I wanted to, and I needed a new vehicle and need to prove that it was unsafe, I'd have Jason that information. Whether I had to call the mechanics myself or call my mechanics and say, hey, we're not keeping up records, we're fixing to fix that and keep our records better.
And we have a safety guy. I don't understand. So the safety guy's responsibility does not cover vehicles, it's just personnel and facility safety. Doesn't he inspect
Charles Cook.
vehicles?
I don't know about the vehicles.
He doesn't,
Not about you, Don, but just in general. 'cause I
right,
remember you
well,
being out on
I
the yard.
want to stand up for Charles. Charles is excellent. I think the first thing that he when he inspects vehicles, he's checking for a safety belt, that it's in compliant, the lights work, backup alarms. We spent a good bit of money on backup alarms. Before we didn't have backup alarms. We did on the emergency vehicles. I'll take that back. That kind of thing is what he looks for.
Gotcha. Okay.
As far as maintenance wise, I haven't seen any paperwork that would warrant that as far as his position, but he does a very good job. I put him in one of the worst cars that I had to put him in an old deputy car that had been passed over by 3 other departments. And I think he got a belly full of it right then and there when I first hired him. And that's when he was, the doors wouldn't open, had to get out on the passenger side. And I'm not talking that down, it's all we had then. But I think that got in his mind that we may had a problem there 10 years ago. But as of today, I think that we're pretty strong when it comes to that. But, you know, looking at some of this surplus stuff, it has been passed around from department to department. Now, I've had so much that Matt has given me, mowers, that's been passed down from somebody else. And I feel like the vehicles have been done that too. You know, when a vehicle goes out, you know, everybody's raising their hand, what you gonna do with it? We'd sure like to have it. Good example is maintenance. It's gonna be hard to, I'm there with you about the emergency vehicle and it's hard for me to put someone that's willing to put their life on the line and put them in something that's loose.
Mr. Chairman, I think we're missing the boat here. Number one, if a vehicle is unsafe, why is it on the road to start with? We do not put people in unsafe vehicles. So Don, if they're unsafe, park them. It's as simple as that. The county cannot stand the liability.
I agree.
So if you're saying it's unsafe, park them, and that goes for any department head. Don't come and tell us that it's unsafe.
Yes, sir.
I hate to see them riding it. I hate to see them driving it, because like Sam said, you hadn't done your homework to start with. And then to come and say it's unsafe,
Right.
park it.
I agree 100%.
Am I wrong? Do we need to be driving unsafe vehicles? If a department head says it's unsafe, do we still put them on the road? Okay.
And maybe I come across wrong, I'm just, you know, as far as being safe, but I still like the idea
Right.
of having somebody look at it, you know.
Right, I
Just
think-
a little loose in the front end, let's,
I agree
Let's see
with
what's
that,
happening, you know.
100%. Jay, when I went in to see Jason today, it was, we were kind of wrestling around, where do you put the top end on a emergency vehicle? Like the mileage. Well, I think that just sticking in 100,000 miles on there, I'm not sure I've ever seen a fire truck with 100,000 miles on it. Have you, Joe?
Mr. Chairman, we need a work session on this.
yeah.
In the meantime, park it if it's unsafe. If you're
Okay.
saying it's unsafe, park it.
Right. And if I come across wrong, I'm sorry, but I'm just, you know, I'm just looking at simple, look out, you know, simple things on cars. And,
There've been plenty of times people have come and said that it's not safe, but they keep using it. So we need to stop that.
all right.
Have a work session whenever Jason has a chance to try to
Jason,
start
great.
compiling some of that.
Please don't take me as
No,
being bad. It's a
Oh,
bad
no,
night, I
you-
know it
you did
is,
real
but
good.
You're bad.
You're doing good. I got you all, don't worry. Don't pay attention to me. I'm liable to ramble on all night.
you know I will.
Where were we? All right, we got through. Ms. Resner, were you through on the policies? You
Yes,
want
sir.
to work on it? Let's have a work session?
Yeah.
All right. You're still up. Right-of-way
Have that
acquisition.
next meeting, or just so that Shannon knows.
Let Jason know when he's got, you know, he's been bored here lately, so he might have time to get caught up. So when he gets that opportunity to get everything together, he says, I'm ready. All right, how's that? Fair enough?
Sounds good.
I know how bored you get at times.
Yeah.
All right, right-of-way acquisition services, Mr. Risner.
So this was just an idea that I wanted to share with the board and get your thoughts on. I've done some thinking on our dirt road paving list that, you know, has been out there for some time, and we've got a number of dirt roads that are in various stages of right-of-way acquisition. Some we've acquired half the parcels, some a quarter, some maybe more. and those things will get some momentum, and then they'll lose that momentum, and so it's been a number of years since that's really been worked on, I guess, on a regular basis, and it is very labor intensive when you get into those things. Just looking back through some of the files on, I had someone come to me and talk about McKay Road a few weeks ago, and we were digging back through the file, and you find that this property owner wanted 2 additional driveway pipes, and this guy wanted his moved, and this guy wanted it, 5 feet less onto his property, and so it's a very individual negotiation, I guess you could say, with each property owner, or in a lot of cases, and so it's very labor intensive, and it's just hard to find the time to pick those things up and work on them, giving them the attention that they need. And so I just had a thought about, what if we issued a request for proposals for companies to provide right-of-way acquisition services, where, and I've found some examples from other jurisdictions where they'll put it out and you get like a per parcel price from some of these firms that do this type of work, and they take the file and work it through the process, working with the owners of any parcels that need to be required along that route. And I think if we do that, we'll at least have somebody continually working on those things, and so that we don't lose momentum, and so that we can see them through until they do get paid. And so just wanted to get your thoughts on that, and see if you might be interested in at least just issuing an RFP to see what that might cost. Frankly, I have no idea. But I just thought it might be a way to sort of keep that ball rolling on some of those dirt road projects.
Any questions or comments?
First question is this a fee that will be covered under LMIG?
Let me check on that. There are a lot of things that LMIG will pay for, and some others that you can use as your local match. That's a good question. I'll check on that and let you know.
And come this June, it'll be 20 years I've lived in Jones County, and it's been amazing, but I know it's very personal when it comes to land acquisition. I think it is, and we've discovered this most recently, I think, not only with the park and the sign, but also with the industrial park. I don't know how an outside entity would work with our people here to accomplish that, especially in some sensitive areas that are very personal to family, et cetera. So that would be my only concern, and you all are probably way more familiar with it than I am.
Mr. Robinson said you thought it was a good idea?
I mean, to get an RFP, see what, right, what the cost would be.
Commissioner Pitt?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Just to find out what it costs.
I am too. I think the RFP will tell us, if we got any local participation, that would be great. That could really talk to some of the landowners. One of the things I thought about was the sale or turnover of property. I know there's a lot of property that stays in the family forever, but there is also a lot on these different roads that changes. 20-30% of the properties change hands, and I know McKay Road's in my district. We've talked about that, about where you couldn't get acquisition from these 5 landowners. That's changed where you can get these 5, but now there's 3 over here that sold because they couldn't get the road paved 10 years ago, and so now they've sold, and I think it'll do another thing is give us a timeline to work these so that we don't leave it open-ended. They go through there and they say, okay, this 40% will not give us right-of-way, and we have to be honest and open with people to say, I'd love to pave that road. We put it on the list. We know there's a need. We know we've allocated the funds through LMIG, but we can't get the right-of-way. And without the right-of-way, there's not an appetite to condemn the property. It's a dead issue. We're not going to keep spending time on a road that we can't get paved. And I think that will help us get to that point, because a lot of these projects are held open for years and years and years, because I know somebody that knows somebody that can talk with somebody and get us that property line moved over 10 feet. And it never happens in 5 or 6 years. So,
And let us clarify that. Is that every single dirt road that's on the list or every single dirt road that people want to get paved?
I'm thinking on the
Well,
list.
We
right?
we have the list, and that comes from 75% of the homeowners have signed a petition to get the road paved, is that right? Somebody's got to step up and get the participation from the residents, property owners on that road to get it paved.
Let me rephrase. The current and active road list that we have now, or some other roads that were talked about 10 years ago that may have fallen off as well?
I would think it's on the list, because then you're really open-ended if you,
Okay. So only those roads that are on the list will be considered in the RFP.
I guess at this point, and I guess we go back and change it later, but at this
Okay.
point, that's what I
well, if
would
you get
say.
a per parcel cost, that
Yeah.
might
Okay.
help us on, if we change, if the list changes, if 1, 2 gets paved, we're gonna add more to the list anyway.
Right. And the reason why I'm asking, because just in the last 2 months, we had some new roads added to the list that weren't on the list before, and they just kind of walked up and added them. So, okay.
Mr. Robinson, you want to put your, I like this idea in a motion for RFP?
Yes, I make the motion that we, have Jason to do some RFPs, request some RFPs for right-of-way acquisition.
Have a motion, have a second?
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? If none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Just the additional, I'd like to confirm list before we RFP it, so we can see what's on the list.
Okay. So you're on opposed until we confirm the list?
Oh, no, I'd support it, I just.
Oh, okay, all right, so we got, that's great. All right, Ms. Wagner, I think you're up next.
The last
Flex time
meeting-
policy?
Yeah, the last meeting, it was brought up about the problems we were having, with Public Works, with the holiday pay and comp time, and I started to write a policy, but then I'm having so many questions that I need y'all to clarify for me on which road you wanna go with this. First, do you want the holiday to count as the 40 hours work, to go towards that 40 hours work? Like, right now, we do not count that as actual work.
Because it's, I mean, they shouldn't be penalized if
The place is closed.
I think there's two issues, because we can say that it goes towards the 40 hours work, but we can't change federal law that says you gotta have 40 worked hours, sweat hours, but for comp time for you to get overtime. So we can say, yes, it goes towards 40, and then even though they work 8 hours during an 8-hour holiday week, they still only get that at regular time. But I think what we were saying is not take that away from them, they don't work Saturday in lieu of Thursday, because we gave everybody else off on Thursday, because that's penalizing the ones that come in and work, so. it
So
would-
they would get paid for the Saturday, it would just be
for-
regular time?
Regular time, 48 hours is what they would have.
Any other?
He's talking about hourly people.
What about the salaried people that think that was the issue? What, is that something?
Well, it was, that's another question. Do you want to keep comp time? Do you want, or would you like to move away from comp time and move to a flex schedule? This is for our salaried employees. Because of course, with our hourly employees, they need to be paid overtime at time and a half, or if they work their physical 40 hours, if they work over their actual 40 hours. But we have been allowing comp time to accrue for our salaried employees, and it's not anything that we have to do, and I think we're going to find ourselves in some trouble with it. I know the last salary study that was done, this was years before I got here, they made the recommendation to get rid of comp time, and it was not done then. If we do get rid of comp time, we can move towards a flex schedule, which you got to understand, with a salaried employee, you get paid if you're here or not. I mean, a salaried employee, that's one of the benefits of being a salaried employee. You're going to get paid if you're here or not. A salaried employee is paid for the work that they perform, not for the hours of work that they do. Just like Jason and myself tonight, we don't get anything for having to be here at this meeting. But if we move towards a flex schedule, you can say, I'm going to come in late tomorrow because I worked over last
Tonight.
night or whatever. When a salaried employee leaves, they don't take their comp time with them, you know, you don't pay them for it.
I don't agree with that. I really don't. I've worked jobs before where I was on.
Mr. Chairman.
Let them come up.
Okay, hold on one minute. I'm gonna give y'all time, just a minute. I'm gonna,
Um,
would y'all like to do this in a work session? That we can invite on employees? Would that be great?
Yes, sir. I would love that.
How about next meeting?
Yeah.
You be ready next meeting? Let's have a work session. We'll we'll have a full hour. Everybody able to come next meeting at 5?
We're gonna meet on,
We can talk more about this.
Will y'all be ready?
yeah.
I'd love to fill this room up and let's get some ideas to make sure everything works. 'Cause like I said, it's, I'm sure there's some changes we need to be made, so if we can have a work session on that.
yeah.
And just another thing I want y'all to think about, I was trying to think about for the public works employees, you know, because it seems like every time a holiday pops up, there's a issue with that department more than others. They're working Monday through Thursday, they don't even work a full work week. I think we need to get them back to a regular work week, Monday through Friday.
Or you can do, you can,
Work 10 hours a day.
right,
I mean,
but we can,
we're still working 40 hours.
right. But what happens if you change the schedule? I mean, like I said, if you had somebody work, I mean, John, I'm just asking, let's say if you had somebody work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday as their work week, would that help anything? Well, let's use the work session as a discussion on it. How's that sound? Everybody good with that?
Yes, sir.
And let's share everybody's ideas. Let's see if we can come to, you know, what's gonna work best for everything. Next meeting at 5 o'clock. Everybody good? Mr. Martin?
You know, if you want true employee feedback, I think you move the meeting to a space that could accommodate the employees. But I don't know who's going to come or not going to come, but I can imagine if they think that workers, comp time and schedules are going to be changed, you could have 50 to 100 employees.
All right.
We do it at 4:30 to 5:30 at the Knox Center. That'd give us 30 minutes to come back over here for the 6 o'clock meeting.
We can do that.
You have the Knox Center and you can sit 200 people.
We can do that. How's that?
Or do you just have the meeting over there just in case it starts running a little late? Give y'all the additional time.
I thought we had another work session.
We haven't been scheduled yet, Don.
Haven't scheduled yet. We can do the 4:30 to 5:30 and come over here.
We're waiting on Jason on that one, Don.
All right, everybody good with that? Okay. Next meeting, I like the idea on Knox Center. That way if we have a full crowd, we can fill it up. That's great. All right. Is that it on?
Chairman, one thing, information we might need for the work session though is one question I'd like to know. Do we have any salaried employees that are on a rotating call list with hourly employees?
I think so, I think Public Works does that.
Okay.
Animal control. And-
With animal control, it's different, there's only 2 employees.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
There's
Can-
probably one hourly and one salary.
Can we also post what these tentative policies look like in advance so employees have an opportunity to review it so they can come to the meeting informed?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, but to address that, if you don't really, and I think Shannon's having a hard time to come up with policies until y'all give her direction
Sure.
of sort of what policies you want her to come up with.
Right,
You
but there are some policies that already exist. Bibb County may have a policy, Houston County may have a policy, ACCG may be familiar with the policy. Just grab it, post it online, so, you know, they can look at them and be familiar with the types of policies, you know.
Good idea. Anything else? All right, well, looking forward to work session. Old business, customer services policy.
I made the changes and submitted it again. So that was okay.
I've reviewed it, I didn't see any, I don't have any concerns.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? Done, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you.
Ayes have it. All right, good. Department heads. Who wants to start tonight? Don? I'm just looking for a hand raise up. We start with Mr. Douglas back there for the sheriff's report.
Go ahead with it, Lieutenant.
You got a sheriff's report for us tonight?
Everything's going just fine. I'm just enjoying Seeing government, Bill Stern.
If he's still looking for that wider check.
I know the sheriff said you here on the meetings of reports. I make sure you brought a report with you. Good to have. Mr. Graham?
I just appreciate you listening to me on that. 40 years in, I worry about the vehicles, but I just want to, on the record, I don't have anything that is not unsafe.
Sure.
I want to make that clear,
Right.
because it would be parked.
Sure.
If I got a headlight out, it's parked until it's
Sure.
right.
Great. Mr. Risner? You're good? Donald?
Got an update, we got fresh water coming into the bill now. Just got these 2 bathrooms tied in today. They haven't got the outside faucets yet. They're making a good time with it.
That's great.
Glad to see that happen.
Great.
Let the humidifier run over the weekend back here in the DA's office. And we've been having to swap it out twice a day. So it was about half full over the weekend. So that's real promising.
That's great.
So Snyder's still moving forward, all the lighting and stuff, and hopefully next few weeks they'll be complete. So we're already seeing $20 a day savings just at the government center.
How about that? Good deal.
Yeah, that's something we need, Jason, maybe the next month or so, we can get some tallies up, see where we are on our utility bills, see what we're saving.
Great.
And Snyder should do that for us. They should reconcile our utility bills and see what.
Mr. Pelkey?
Yes, at the beginning of September, the right side rehab will begin, and just in time to get it finished before summer. And same time period as the computer run improvements with the new guardrail, the lift, and the new manhole, and the connecting line from the manhole to clear roll will begin in that time frame too. So.
Mr. Gold?
Yes, sir. There's a couple things.
Good evening, how you doing?
Evening.
Matty Wells Gym has been having a floor issue for a while, and we've been Band-Aiding it quite frequently. If you go over there and look at the floor, you'll see where it's got about 10 different colors of tile and glue popping up all over the place. And it's just an old floor. There's no other rhyme or reason. We've looked at it, but maintenance looked at it, and there's really no way other than to keep Band-Aiding it over and over and over. So we went and had the tile tested. We have no asbestos in the building, which we knew that when we purchased the building, but Board of Education couldn't produce us a certificate. But anyway, we have one now. So I had a company come and look at the floor, taking all the tile up, grinding the concrete, grinding all the glue off, grinding the floor smooth to a polished finish, so that we could just sweep it, mop it, and keep the floor for community use. But that is a $17,000 price tag if we don't do the bathrooms and storage rooms. It's $20,000 if we do the entire building. I'm not asking for that tonight. I'm giving you, again, food for thought. I will come back in a couple weeks, and I'm going to get a couple more, try to get a couple more prices, just to give us some more food for thought. But in a couple weeks, I want to come back and actually look for a motion to try to move forward. Because again, this floor, we can't buff it anymore, because every time we put a buffer on that tile, it pops one up. And it's just becoming, some of the tile, even when the basketball players stop to change directions, the tile will pop loose. So we just worried about where we're going to be with there if we don't do something soon. So right now, it's not an emergency situation, but it is something we need to, food for thought to look for going down the road.
Do you think buffing, just taking them all off and leaving it bare concrete better than?
Yes, sir.
I mean, replacing all the tile? I don't know, I just want to try to, it would be the cheapest.
I would. For long-term maintenance and just durability of the floor, just go down the naked concrete. And the concrete's going to be taken to us so smooth that we could wax and buff it and treat it just like we treat this one back here, but we can't do that. That's what we used to do until the tile just kept getting too bad. We had to stop.
Right.
So,
But you talking about grinding down the glue down to buff to grind the concrete smooth.
mhm.
That's probably where most of your money's coming in
It
for
is.
that.
It is, yes, sir.
So if we looked at the cost of pulling the tile up removing the glue with a acetylene or something, acetone cleaner, and then putting retile in it?
I can get a price for that, and we
Yeah,
can
'cause
compare the
I know
two.
those diamond tips on those buffers is what's costing. That's,
I can get a,
That's
I'll have
out
a
of them
price.
things.
I'll get a quote on that also.
yeah. That
And see
might
what
be
that
where
takes
a
us.
lot of that money's coming in is getting the glue, getting from, I mean, once tile's removed, getting the glue down to the slick surface.
I'll give you my thought process behind not going back with tile, not saying we should or shouldn't, but my thought process is, if we get it down the naked concrete and get it smooth, and we don't ever have to worry about it again. Whether it's 10 years from now, 20 years from now, we don't have to worry about it. But I'm not opposed to doing it either way. I know it's a financial thing.
Yeah, you're probably gonna find a lot of cracks though when you pull that,
Oh, yeah.
that linoleum up, I mean, that tile up, and then you gotta do something with that, because you expose it to air, it's gonna keep getting worse.
Just out of
Concrete
curiosity.
always cracks.
Yeah, always. Just out of curiosity, wood floor, it's crazy expensive, right?
I can only imagine. I mean, I don't know, but
If we're gonna price tile, I'd price wood, because then you could just drop that over it, right?
yes, sir. All right, I'll look into that. Last thing is, we have, for the last couple months, we have beat around the idea of how to get the land at Allen Green and 18. Spoken with Mr. Holloway again today. He doesn't have a number for his appraiser. I did call Tim Ingram. Tim said the appraisal should run anywhere from $300 to $500 to pay for the appraiser to get where we can take this land. Tonight I am coming, if I can't get approval because I'm not on the agenda, maybe put on the next meeting, but during our original conversation with Morris Bank, back when we did the original park sponsorship, we told them we would give our best foot forward to acquire a place to put a secondary sign, so we have a sign at both entrances. And that's what we've been doing. We have been fulfilling that obligation, putting our best foot forward. So tonight, beat around the idea, brought the idea to Mr. Risner. They're paying us a pretty good price tag over 7 years. So we have that money in an account. We actually have in that account, Levita pulled the numbers for me. We're sitting around $16,300 in that account for special projects or whatever we need to do in outside of general funds when it comes to recreation. So I pose that we use $300 to $500, whatever the price tag is, no more than $500, $300 to $500 to get this appraisal done, so that we can take acquisition, or however, whatever terminology you want to use, take ownership of this land and get it moving forward with a new entrance sign for Morris Bank. Now, the sign itself is going to be designed, and at that point, we'll come back later, and talk about, because we want to put a nicer sign, like what they have out in front of the high school, something that's LED, something that's scrolling, but again, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
That's something that Morris Bank will purchase?
They are willing to go in. They didn't say how much. Again, that's another bridge.
Have to cross.
Worst case scenario, to go back to a sign just like it was at Recreation Road, but they would like to go something nicer.
That's gonna have to go on the next agenda, though. Y'all can't do
Right,
it on that
yeah.
comments.
I don't have a problem with with paying for a survey, I mean, the appraisal, but not, I don't see us paying for property, not if they're trying to give it to us, so.
No, I'm not asking to pay for property. What I'm just asking is,
We'll put it on the next agenda,
Right.
that way we can give it a go, okay?
Okay.
I got to think about that last time too, there, to give them the money, so, that, it wouldn't come out of your, come
Right.
out of your sponsor fund.
so just
And if
looking
we
for,
could maybe get like a letter of intent from him, that if the board is willing to put forth the money to pay for an appraisal, then he's willing to deed that over free of,
Right. Correct. Okay.
And the additional language I would have, per our attorney, is the sales, the transaction is not subject to the appraisal value.
Correct. He's never said that, right?
Okay.
But I understand what you mean.
and I had done the deed of gift previously, so that's done. But yeah.
So if we can
before
just
they
get him to go ahead and basically commit to signing everything, if we'll pay the appraiser invoice,
Yeah,
is
if
what
you
it
just
boils
put
down
that in the
to.
letter, and then we can put it on the agenda next week for them to vote on whether or not they're willing to agree to pay for the appraisal
All right.
next meeting.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Lowe?
I don't have it in mind.
Anyone else on this tonight? Attorney?
I had looked into the, what was on the agenda last time, or I think just the gentleman came up about the Brookwood Trail, but it's not on the agenda tonight, so do y'all want to wait and talk about that when it comes back up? The private road request to be made public and what that would entail, sort of whether or not that can be done. Do you just want to wait on that?
I'm game for whatever.
Yeah. We can put it, I think we need to look at it though. If we're going to adopt the road, it needs to be adopted.
Well, do you want me to go ahead and discuss the legality of that?
Yeah, go ahead and
I guess?
share it.
And I
Share it.
actually have a memo for you all that I'll send you. It's sitting on my printer right now.
Of course.
It's at the office. But, I looked into this issue. There certainly would be cost to the county, surveying, and some engineering costs, some improvements. The question of whether or not the county can take over a private road is whether or not it serves the best interest of the public before we can use county funds on that. I looked at the street view of this particular road, and I took a picture of it with my phone. I can pass that around, but this particular request appears to be like a one-lane driveway, and I've talked to John about it too. It is not something that is it would be absolutely substandard to be considered a county road. What asphalt that was put down on this before is broken up, so you couldn't just sort of go in and grade it. It would have to be asphalted. It's very narrow. We have at least, a roadway that would be 60 foot with easements and things of that nature. This is very narrow. So the current condition of the road would be absolutely substandard, so it would be a lot of money on the county to bring it up to the condition that it would have to be a county road. But the major question is, does it serve the public interest? And it appears to be absolutely a driveway. It does not sort of lead you anywhere else. It would serve the few homeowners that use it as their driveway and no public interest, and then you run into a violation of the gratuities clause, because it would absolutely be just sort of a service, a benefit to these individual homeowners with no sort of larger public interest connected to the county funds that would have to be spent to bring this roadway up to conditions. And then lastly, I think, would be the consideration of the precedent it sets for future requests. I mean, this particular drive would be a big expense to the county to have it where we could call this a county road. And then you are servicing a private road that would be for the benefit of a few individuals, not a public interest. And so if it's something that the county decided to do, you've got to think of all of sort of the driveways that people think, oh, well, this is going to be much easier and cheaper on me if the county maintains this than it to be an expense on me personally. So I think it would set a dangerous sort of precedence for future requests, but it's certainly a substandard road. I don't think this one in particular could legitimately qualify as meeting public interest, and then we'd certainly run afoul of the gratuities clause.
Do we just simply draft a letter stating, we thank you for presenting this to us, but due to our findings that we're not going to be able to accept this as a county road for the various reasons?
Well, the homeowners, the two gentlemen that were here, I don't believe they were actually on the agenda. They didn't actually make the request as an agenda item, right? They just sort of.
Yep.
They did it.
They did? Okay. But I'll do whatever you all want me to, but I think this particular request is.
But I guess I just hate for them to continue to hope and press on when
Right.
the board's pretty much made a decision we're not going to accept the road due to those findings that you listed.
I think a letter would be in order, and I just know from my past experience from doing developments and all, it was always on, all the expenses of bringing a road up to code was by me.
Yeah.
In order for the county to adopt it, so it wouldn't be, I don't think, in order for, let's just scenario, if we were to do it, they've had to spend a lot of money to bring that road up to county standards. And that's what they're probably wanting to do anyhow, which I think wants to look at the price tag of, well, we'll keep it a private driveway.
You could sort of see this
I think that's why
driving question.
it's during the development phase, we determine whether we're gonna accept the road at that time, you know. It's kinda tough to go back and start accepting roads because
Yeah.
Driving
we
question.
don't wanna maintain them
Okay.
It's just
anymore.
basically
you
a
know.
main driveway,
Yeah,
but, you know,
just so that,
I think there's
we know
actually,
what road we
John,
go
correct me,
down.
we've got something, there's something in place as far as,
It's the driveway.
specs and whatnot on road. I know that because Tim enforces it. And, last one I built, they had to come out and spec before they'd even allow the subdivision to be completed.
So, I'm not sure, when it was on the agenda last time, did we just table it?
You just said we research it
Okay.
and get back.
Okay, so, we may actually need to put it on the agenda so y'all can have a motion to
Sure.
deny the request, and then I'll send
All right.
a
We'll do that.
letter. Okay.
All right. Is that all on our legal side?
It is,
How's the girls doing?
great.
Great. Ms. Wagner, you anything?
I looked at my calendar, I won't be here the first meeting in February, I'll be at Clear Street.
All right.
So we're
Well,
gonna have to move the.
Our
other
assistant
stuff
clerk
to
will sit in.
The work section.
What the work session will
Work
be,
session.
we'll
Sure.
need to move it to the third Tuesday.
Okay. Great, third Tuesday, that'll work. All right.
So
Y'all
the
head
work
out with-
session will be the third
It's
Tuesday.
gonna be the third Tuesday. All employees head out, we're going to move because Ms. Wagner's got a class first Tuesday. So the third Tuesday.
At
we'll do-
4:30?
At 4:30.
Okay.
That way everybody be present. All right.
Will you send us an email to remind us?
Get forgetful these days.
I'm,
Anybody else on department head? Citizen comments, anyone tonight? You may approach, come on, ladies first. You're the only hand I saw too. So.
I'm Jackie Avant. I haven't met Miss Brody yet, but I'm Jackie Avant with the Paul and the Prayer Rescue. I'm the
Very
president.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet y'all. I didn't know that you and Jennifer had already been talking about ordinances, and we wanted to see if maybe you would all agree to let both of them discuss where a spay and neuter law in this county. I share so many lost dogs. I know with a male, I can tell right away when hadn't been fixed. So many have not been fixed when they go out there, and I'd be willing to bet you when they bring them into the shelter, they're bringing them little things with them. We need a spay and neuter law bad. If Danny Faulkner was here tonight with Rock on Rescue, she would be saying the same thing. We, the rescues, have discussed it, but we haven't been up here to, you know, if Miss Brody and Jennifer's going to talk about it, we sure wish they'd consider it, because this is a big problem here in this county. I mean, if they go out there, I bet you if they go out there to pick up a dog or check on a dog, if the dog is not neutered, the male dog, they can't say anything. They need to be able to say, that dog's not neutered, you're not following the law. We're going to have to write you a ticket. Something's got to be done, because it's a constant thing, and they do a wonderful job. So
And-
that's what I wanted to ask.
Well, thank you for coming forward. Jennifer and I, in my notes from our meeting, did discuss, I'm going to look into sort of what some of the other counties are doing regarding a mandatory spay neuter. There certainly would be exceptions for hunting dogs and some
Oh,
of,
the actual breeders, I
Yeah.
mean, the real breeders that have licenses.
but I will include that in some of our changes for the board to review and discuss, you know, how, if it's something they want to go forward with, or, you know.
Well, we, the rescues, would truly appreciate it, and I bet you the animal control would be too, because there's too many dogs, puppies dumped, and everything. So I appreciate all of y'all. I haven't been here in a while, but I wish I wish I could come back, because it's so early, you know, to get myself straight at home. But I just love y'all. Y'all are doing
Maybe
a
2 minutes,
fantastic job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
And every
Ms.
one of
Appreciate
you
what
put
y'all
good thoughts into what you brought up tonight, so I'm proud of you. You too. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank y'all. Anyone else tonight? No one else? Mr. Martin, you want to start us off on commissioner comment?
All is well in the kingdom, minus one little item. I do have a constituent that has called you, me, and Jason a few times.
He called me about once a week.
Oh, yeah, she wants something done, sir. She speaks very highly of it. She just says you need to come on by. So let me know. We'll go by together.
All right, we'll do it.
Other than that, all is well. Thank you.
Commissioner Robinson?
Everything's good.
That's great. Mr. Pitt?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank Jason for reaching out to the Regional Commission to look at the Community Development Block Grant, and due to what Greg mentioned, that we don't have time to put the application together. So sorry we missed it, but hopefully we can try to apply for it again next year so we don't miss out on that opportunity. And as we work towards this AARP designation for a livable community, I had a resident reach out to me about a new sport. Sam may be familiar with it. It's something called pickleball. Something that's growing. They have a league over in Macon. Hey, listen, it's a new sport, and this guy, he lives in Jones County, but he's actually going to Baldwin County and playing over there in their gym. So that what I'm posing to the commissioners is to try to do a solution to offer pickleball in our local gym here during maybe business hours, Tuesdays and Thursdays, Mondays, Wednesdays, whatever we decide, a couple hours a day. And I mentioned it to Matt, so I'm just bringing it to the full board. When I was in school, we did intramural sports. The person had to give the driver's license. They could come and, use the gym, and then somebody would check and make sure it's clean before they got their driver's license back. So coming up with some type of policy or idea of how can a league start, pickleball league, go in the gym for a couple hours, a couple of days out of the week, without a person from Parks and Recreation have to be present the entire time, just to make sure everybody's safe and nobody's getting hurt. So that's something I want the board to now think through, as of, what could we do to allow the public to, if they want to play volleyball, have a volleyball league, and you sign a waiver. I understand that I'm at my own risk, I'm playing volleyball to have fun, it's recreation. But where a county employee doesn't have to be present just to watch them, make sure nobody's vandalizing the gym or anything along those lines. So, and even with it being cold right now, some seniors may want to go walking, and it's cold outside, so maybe they go in the gym and go walking and use those facilities here as well as on Highway 49. So that's something I want the commissioners to think about, and maybe I put on the agenda for the next meeting, and hopefully we can make a decision about putting a policy in place, some action in place to allow the seniors, as well as introducing pickleball to the community so that this gentleman doesn't have to drive to Milledgeville or Macon. We can do it here in our own community, because I'm thinking a net and everything may be $50 to $100, so it's not very expensive. So I just wanted to share it with the board, and that's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Kitchen?
Thank you, Chairman. We talked a little bit last meeting about, or maybe in the meeting before, about the grant we got from the Clean Air Coalition on energy savings, and we talked about using it at the Knox Center for our arts program, the students and all. I reached out to Miss Mullis over there, and she said the soundboard's pretty good. We need the lighting and some AV sound for the stage is the biggest need. So I've reached out to a couple of people that's done some lighting, and they've have AV companies, and so we're trying to get somebody to come in and give us a free look, design, tell us what we need. But from everything we're seeing, I don't know that 5,000 is gonna touch it. I mean, it'll make a good start. But I also know there was some grants through, I think it was Fox Theater that was having for reviving old auditoriums and stuff, and since that one's considered an auditorium, we might be eligible for some good. So just want to see if we could look into something like that, and maybe even use some of the money as some matching funds. I know they've got a $50,000 grant for arts and renovating auditoriums. Be something we can look at. Talked with Jason about the recycling day. Maybe even coincide it with our cleanup day in April, Great American Cleanup Day, if we don't get something done before then. Last thing, Chairman, I want to just remind everybody that we've got openings on different boards, specifically the Tax Assessors Board. I think there's 2 or 3 openings there. People are not beating down our doors to serve on boards, but everybody has an opinion, and everybody wants their taxes to stay low, and they want good service. And so I recommend, if you know somebody or anybody that's has any civic interest in serving, we would love to have you. Just please apply. Some of these are even paid positions, and not a lot, but, you know, it's not just an all-free experience, so we need people in position. So if y'all know anybody that's qualified and interested, have them get in touch with us. All I got, Jim.
That's good. All right. Mr. Pitts, I need a motion to adjourn to go into executive session for real estate.
So, Mr. Chairman, make the motion we adjourn to go to executive session of real estate.
Second.
Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank y'all. Hopefully we'll be back shortly.